Welcome to Toasted Lavender Podcast, where we talk about queer things and also drink beer.
Well, we also talk about beer.
And I'm going to tell you about the beer the beer I'm drinking right now.
We all have the opportunity to drink.
Today I'm drinking a
I liked the pause.
Roja Pumpkin Black. It's a 5% pumpkin beer.
What do you think about it? I'm curious about what
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty sweet, but it's fine. I don't know.
I don't know if I drank it and I didn't know that it was supposed to be a pumpkin.
You don't know that you'd pick out the pumpkin?
Is that the one I just finished drinking in this little one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize I was drinking a pumpkin beer either.
See, but I question everything now since I had COVID because I feel like it really did, change the way that I taste stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And so now I'm like, is it just me? But, yeah, I don't get a ton of, whatever the traditional pumpkin spice stuff is. But I like it. I like it for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, darker beer. It kind of reminds me of that Buffalo Soldier Rye IPA. It's just that base is kind of similar to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm way off, but I don't know. I like it.
I liked it too, but I agree with you, Lindsay.
It's
not super pumpkin-y.
No, there might be a little bit of a nutmeg thing or something that I'm getting. Because it's not cinnamon.
No.
But that's kind of it. There wasn't a whole lot else. But it's
interesting.
It doesn't mean that it's not good. I think it's
that's
fine.
Interesting. All right. What's the beer that you are drinking?
Raíces.
Oh, good job.
Oh, you did so good.
What is it?
No, I said it. I already said it.
Lindsay's been practicing it for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I just went for it on the first shot.
And you did well.
Hopefully there's enough space there so you can just edit everything else out and then just keep that. But it's an Imperial Red IPA, and this is a brewery in Denver, Colorado that's like right down the street from Meow Wolf. I won't say any more.
Shout out to Meow Wolf.
Shout out to Meow Wolf and some relatives of mine that were recently at Meow Wolf. Right down the street from this brewery. And somehow I have this beer. Anyway.
How's the beer?
The beer. I will read a little bit of a description. A Latino-owned brewery in Denver, Colorado. Malt profile-oriented beer.
Oh.
With an assertive hop characteristic. Between a malty foundation, its hoppy character, and the alcohol complementing of this imperial-style beer, you will find yourself right in the eye of a hurricane of complexity and flavors that will make you want to come back for more. Pair it with beef, pork, hot dishes, sausages,
Hot dishes.
and some desserts.
Nothing
Like
cold.
flan.
Oh,
Right.
Only hot desserts, though.
Yeah.
Like flan.
Like flan. Oh, I love flan.
So do I, but it's not a hot
Sweaty
dish.
balls.
Sorry.
God.
I am drinking the New Day Pils, which is a contemporary American-style Pilsner from TF Brewing. It is really good. It kind of tastes like... It's a really hoppy, yummy Pilsner. I'm excited for you guys to try it because you're going to love it. I think it's really good. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Great.
And I am also having a re-release from TF Brewing. I am enjoying the Squirrel.
Re-release.
Re-release. What did I say?
You said re-release. I'm
Oh.
just curious. Do they print that on the can?
No, just they do this one every year.
Oh, okay.
And I know because it's up on our beer wall up there.
Yeah, we've bought it many times.
And it's
Oh,
one
and
of-
they keep the artwork.
Yeah. And it's one of my favorites from TF, which is a local brewery here in Salt Lake City. And it's a juicy IPA, and it has a really fun design on the can. It's
Their
bright
labels
and
are
happy.
always
And
really fun.
yeah, their artists killing it. But delicious, one of my favorites from them.
Their labels kind of remind me of Modern Times.
Yes.
They're geometric and like
bright colors, like
Yeah.
eye-catching.
yeah.
a
Not to
little more
say
modern.
that they're trying to copy Modern Times. They
No,
just
it's a
remind me
different
of Modern
style,
Times.
but like
if you know Modern Times, then maybe that can give you an idea.
yeah.
Yeah, very fun.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Clink.
We are gathered here today.
Oh, wow, priest. Brother.
Listen,
Brother.
I don't know. If people don't know who I am by now, I mean, the world's crazy, right? But the WNBA finals are on.
and we appreciate that.
We do. We're a sportsing couple
You are.
ourselves. You
Thriving.
guys, sort of.
We dabble.
We enjoy it
Dabble
when
in
we're at your
sports.
house and
Right.
We
cozily
dabble.
on your couch.
We're not
don't
committing.
have
Your
a negative
TV.
feeling about
We're
it.
just
No.
not committing to a whole season or
You're
a whole
on a
sport.
you're on a softball team though, right?
I am on a softball
Okay,
team.
so you're a little sporty.
Well, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
a little
To
bit.
the
I dabble.
naked eye.
You dabble
I'm
in-
just.
To
I'm
the naked
sticking.
eye.
I'm sticking to the dabble. That's
all right.
That's how deep I go.
Okay.
I like to go to some games here and there. I'll play on a beginners league here and there. I will enjoy a beer at your house when the WNBA game's on.
Yeah. So, we live in Utah, which if you've been listening to this podcast, you would know. We like the Utah Jazz, as does every other basketball-loving Utahn, probably. I mean, unless you grew up when I did, and then, like, there were converts that just loved the Bulls because Michael Jordan and the Bulls, which I was always just like, you know what? You live in Utah.
They-
Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's
Okay.
sad not to
right.
like your own team. It's
Yeah.
like, be true to your school.
Come on.
Come on.
Oh, I like the Beach Boys reference, honey.
Thanks.
Come on. So we've been watching the WNBA, and I want to, like, before we get into this too much, I want to give a shout out to my sister, Lacey, and her wife, Katharina, because they've been, like, getting down on WNBA for a while. So
Okay, so are they kind of responsible for putting you guys onto your...
I wouldn't say they're responsible, no, because they've been, like I said,
They're just big
watching
fans.
for a while, and we haven't really...
Well, and they've
Jumped
been,
on the
they've been
train.
to a few games,
Yeah, well,
right?
Yeah,
they've
a lot of
traveled
them,
to,
yeah.
like,
That's cool.
go to games and stuff.
Yeah.
So shout out, and I'm not gonna try to pretend like I know
I don't know
about
as much as them.
WNBA players. I know like things that I've read, and I don't have like some history, but we're gonna go for it. So we've been watching the finals, and I feel like this year is one of the first years that it seems like it's been really marketed and advertised much more than previous years. I don't know if I'm crazy, but it feels like I've seen a lot more of it. Do you feel that way?
I feel like maybe last year was kind of the same.
You felt the
like,
same?
I think it's been like in the last very recent past.
So, just like a brief history on the WNBA. They've been around. They've started playing games in 1997.
That's
Wow,
it?
so
Yeah.
they're new.
Oh, wow.
So
And do you know when the NBA's first
I
started
do.
playing games?
I think it's 1946. Yes, 1946.
Oh, God.
So that's like 50 years later.
And I'm not entirely sure if that was the NBA or if it was like there was
ABA or
ABA.
What
Yeah.
became the NBA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either
But-
way.
The
from,
beginning of the professional basketball.
Yeah.
let's call it
sorry.
1946, right? So that's like
That's insane.
50 years of men's basketball before there was a women's professional league.
And that's in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That feels like
1997? Like, yeah, that's even in my lifetime.
oh yeah, because we're all so much older.
So we're watching the game, and it's obviously a little bit different of a game just in terms of, like, the players are different. There's a different style of basketball being played, and I think that, you know, and we will definitely get into this later. So we're watching it, and there's a historic moment, and this is last night, Game 3 of the finals of a 5-game series. So you win 3, you win. It's the Aces, who are in Las Vegas, and the Sun, singular, not to be confused with the Suns, the Sun,
Right.
Connecticut
Sunna.
Sun, the
Sunna.
Connecticut Sun.
Sana!
The Aces are up 2-0, right? And we're in Game 3, and we moved to Connecticut, I think, for Game 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, when we watched, it was the first finals triple-double. And
What does that mean?
a
Break that
triple-double
down.
is when you have in 3 categories, triple, a double-digit amount of whatever it is. So if it's rebounds, you have at least 10. Points, at least 10. Assists, 10.
In one
That's
game.
a triple-double
game.
in one game.
Damn.
It's
And that's
impressive.
hard to do.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to
Alyssa
do.
Thomas of the Sun had the WNBA Finals first triple-double since 1997.
Wow.
Last night.
Wow.
That's cool.
So that happened.
Congratulations to her. That's a big fucking deal.
Yeah, so we were both like, wow, the first one?
Yeah.
We really? The first one? And so we just started riffing on, like, what does that mean, and how do we compare it to what we know, because we've just always watched the NBA. And I'll give you some stats.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you can get an idea. So, of the WNBA history, 11 players total have had a triple-double all time, in any time.
In all 50...
In all 26 seasons to this point.
And they play
There's
like,
only been 11 players that have done it, for a total of 19 times that it's happened. So there's been players that have done it more than once.
it's very rare. Very rare.
It's very rare. And only 3 players have done it in the playoffs. So obviously the finals, there was one player that did it.
So she's
Which was
the
last
fourth
night.
player to play in the
She's the
playoffs?
third player
She's the third.
in the playoffs to get a triple-double. There's been 2 other times in the playoffs, but not the finals, not the championship games, right? So, Cheryl Swoops. Has anyone ever heard of Cheryl Swoops? I remember hearing about
She's
Cheryl
on
Swoops.
the Seattle team, right?
She was on the Comets. She's retired now.
Okay, no, I don't know who that is.
So
but you
she
know the
did it.
name. You know,
I do
you've heard
know
the name before.
The name
yeah.
is familiar to
Yeah.
me for some
She
reason.
has been referred to, and this is where we're going to get into some shit. She has been referred to as the Michael Jordan of women's basketball.
Oh.
Cheryl Swoops.
Of
She had
course
a
she has
Nike
to be-
contract. No, tell me. Repeat
Of course,
that.
she has to be of women's basketball.
The man of women's basketball.
The best man of
The best
The
man of
best
all time
women.
of women's basketball. She can't just be Cheryl Swoops, the best basketball
Female basketball
yes.
player, but she shouldn't even be that. Like, she should, like, I guess, in her league, but it sucks. It sucks that it has to be, like, I'm a female athlete. I'm a female musician. I'm, like, if you want to be that, I guess that's fine, but, like, it shouldn't be, like, a lesser than category, you know?
I just thought it was interesting that she's the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. And I get, like, people do that a lot in anything. It doesn't even have to be sports. You could say, like, you're the Michael Jordan of watering the lawn or whatever.
I'm not. I know I'm
Alex,
not.
I'm so impressed.
No, I'm not. I really am
okay.
not.
But
Lindsay is the Michael Jordan of watering the lawn.
But it means
How does Michael
something.
Jordan water his lawn?
Well, that's the point.
He's
is like
just like the best.
Just the best of the best.
He's just like
he's just the best. And so she was referred to as the Michael Jordan of women's basketball.
Right.
But the problem with that is it's not watering lawns. It's like they're playing the same sport, and she can't even just be her own.
Right. She can't just be
She
this
just can't be
badass
Cheryl
who has...
Swoops.
Yeah,
Which is the
she can't
badass
just be
fucking
the
name.
most
Yeah.
badass lady basketball player of all time. She has to be the Michael Jordan. But whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because, and here's the kicker, she got pregnant while she was playing in the NBA and named her kid Jordan.
Oh, shit.
Why?
Because she's the Michael Jordan of the... I don't
I
know.
don't like
Is
that.
it like a fuck you, or is it a...
No, I think she probably genuinely thought he was awesome, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Cheryl Swoops has a very interesting story, which I'm sort of tiptoeing into. But she was one of the 3 to get a triple-double. We'll go back
in
to
the
triple-double.
playoffs. In the playoffs.
2005 was when she got it in the playoffs. But she was the first triple-double ever in the WNBA. Cheryl
Oh, wow.
Swoops.
I love her name. It's like such a
1999.
perfect...
Swoops.
Yeah, it's like swoosh.
like hoops.
Hoops.
Swoops.
yeah,
like,
like,
yeah,
swoosh
it's
hoops.
just
Did
like-
she change her name?
No.
Is that like a publicity
That's
stunt?
her name.
It's
Are we
like she was
swoops?
made to play babasketball.
They made her play basketball.
They're
Somebody
like,
did.
bitch, your
They're like,
name.
your name is Swoops.
Bitch, your name, mommy.
What?
So she got pregnant
We're born for this.
right after, I don't know, man. I don't know when she got pregnant, but she won gold at the 96 Olympics. And then that was the debut season of the WNBA. And she was pregnant, but she was like the best player.
And she was still playing, even
And
though
she-
she was pregnant.
So I think she finished the Olympics and then maybe got pregnant, and then she was supposed to start in the WNBA, start playing.
But then she couldn't.
She had a
was
baby.
pregnant.
She went and played after 7 weeks after she gave birth. She's like back
Holy shit.
playing. And you know how much she made per year? Do you know how much she made per year? Does anybody want to guess?
Probably horrible.
Fucking A,
It's
dude.
probably horrible.
It's
She
probably like
could have made more being a
$15,000
school
a year.
teacher.
Yeah.
$50,000.
Oh my
And she's
God.
like the best player.
And she's like the Michael
That is
Jordan.
insulting.
$50,000
In about 97, which,
Do you
yeah,
think
it's
that's
more than
because
today.
she had a baby? Do you think she would have been paid more
No.
if she didn't have a
That's-
baby?
that's the
just what
salary.
it was.
Yep.
That's so fucked up.
So,
And Michael Jordan's salary is
can't
like
imagine-
50
I'm so
million.
Yeah. I can't imagine like running up and down a court after 7 weeks after having a baby.
she started practicing 2 weeks after she...
You literally like lose
Your
innards
organs
and
are like
organs that
not
are, like,
attached
yeah.
to your body.
Well, and then isn't it like you have to pee all the time after?
I don't know.
Like every time you sneeze after you have a kid, you have to. It's like
do
if
they
you
sneeze
run,
a lot on the basketball court?
I don't know, but I'm thinking like if you're running, it might be an issue.
Well, that's why they make those
I don't know.
diaper winged underwear.
Honey, I don't think
I've
Cheryl
had to wear
Swoops is
them,
wearing
so-
diaper underwear while she's playing basketball.
There's a lot we could say about this story.
There is
Okay,
a lot.
we can
We're
move
on
I
a
don't mean to.
tangent. I am very angry about
I
the
know.
amount of money she's making.
Yes.
That
We're
was
gonna get into
absurd.
more of that in a minute.
$50,000.
Yeah, she's like a school teacher.
Yeah,
It's literally
Well,
in a
that's bullshit.
good state.
In a
but
good
still.
state.
she
She's a
has to
school
drive an
teacher.
Uber on the weekends so she can pay for diapers for her baby.
I got more for you. Let's put that to bed for a second. So back to triple double. 3 players total have ever in the playoffs had a triple-double. The third one is named Courtney Vandersloot.
Oh, that's a dangerous last name. I thought you were going to say something different.
She just got eliminated from the playoffs. She plays for the Chicago Sky currently. They were playing the Connecticut Sun singular. And were going to win. I swear to God, they were 2 minutes away. And they lost it at the last.
Oh, it was neck and neck?
Yes.
Ooh, that's
So Courtney got booted out. Courtney is married to her teammate. And they...
Oh, is this the one that we were watching, the previous game?
Yes.
At your house?
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the playoff games.
Yes.
Okay.
She got booted out?
Allie Quigley is her wife.
Okay.
And they play on the same team. And I think they both, start the game together. And actually, I read today that Courtney Vandersloot recorded, she's now the league leader in playoff assists, total. Mm-hmm. And she did it
to her wife. Oh,
she did
of
it
course
to
she
her
did.
wife.
Passed the ball
Alex.
to her wife, who then made the shot.
Of course.
And then she broke the record.
Ultimate teamwork.
That was on purpose. That was on purpose.
Honey, I'm
for
only
sure.
gonna pass to you.
I'm just gonna be
That's
passing
pretty
to my wife
adorable.
until
It's
she
so
makes
cute.
it.
It's
like
really cute.
that.
Why not?
It's like
I like it.
It's-
Why not?
I feel
full
like that's queer
teamwork.
joy. I'm claiming this as my queer joy
I-
this week,
listen.
right now, okay? So I don't
Honey,
have to
we're in a
have
new
one
season.
later.
This is season 4. We have no more queer joy.
we are
No.
joyless.
We're joyless this season.
I brought it up for a reason, dude. I thought
It's
it
really fucking cute.
was really cute and interesting. So
And she made her wife a part of her goal making finale. That's kind of adorable.
I wonder if they were
seems
just
less.
I was gonna make a comment that is not positive.
Are you
so-
cringy about it or what?
No.
What are you
I'm
thinking?
just not. I'm choosing not to
Okay,
be
that's-
negative.
well, that's
Okay,
just
but
fine.
you're not feeling cute about it.
It's cute and nice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we've talked about Cheryl Swoops.
Mm-hmm.
She was the second player. Well, she was the first player in the playoffs to get a triple double, but in the finals it was Alyssa Thomas last night.
Right.
And then Courtney Vandersloot, who we just talked about. So I just want to give a contrast to the NBA because it's been around for so long. The first recorded triple double was in 1950 in the NBA. Recorded. They think it actually happened before, but they just didn't keep good
Right.
notes.
Right. Yeah.
So the first one was in 1950 by Andy Phillip. And in contrast to that as well, so there's been one WNBA player that has had a triple-double in the finals. There's been 13 NBA players that have had a triple-double in the finals. And
Okay.
some of them multiple. Like LeBron James, I think, has had
More than one.
over a dozen.
Oh.
He's the leader in finals
Okay.
triple
my.
doubles.
Okay.
He does it often.
Yeah.
He does it often.
But
yeah.
there are 13 different men who.
But there's
have
13
done it.
different dudes who have
Gotcha.
done it over the course of NBA history in the finals, and there's only been one woman so far since 1997
And it
that has
happened
done it in the finals,
yesterday.
and it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so it really is, yeah.
It's a historic moment.
It was a historic moment, and
Yeah.
I think that's part of why I want to talk about this because, well, we'll just keep going. I told you briefly that Cheryl Swoops was making $50,000 when she
Good sound effect, honey.
when she got pregnant, people freaked out internally, her team, the her agent, they were because you can't
She's about
play.
to,
Like,
like,
you can't play.
You're not worth
Yeah.
money.
You're
when
like
you're
the
making
best
a baby.
player. You're the
Yeah.
best player, and now you can't play.
Yeah.
You're damaged goods.
What are we gonna do? And for a moment, it was like everything is fucked. But then they're like, actually, no. This is great. This is great. We're gonna market this.
To moms
She
around
was
the country.
on the cover of Sports Illustrated in her jersey with a baby bump.
Yeah,
6 months
I
pregnant.
think I remember that. Where
I want to see this picture.
okay,
It exists.
I'll look for it. You keep going.
Damn, that's wild.
And then she gives birth, and then she plays 7 weeks later or whatever. But because of her pregnancy, it boosted her stock, and she ended up making $1 million in endorsements over her $50,000 salary. So she had
Get
Air
it, girl.
Swoops,
Get it.
Air Swoops like Air Jordans. It was Air
Because
Swoops.
of her pregnancy,
Perfect.
or that's
It was a boost. She signed a major deal after she was pregnant.
Oh,
and they
hey,
were
girl.
already
damn.
She's way pregnant in that photo.
What a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does look like a badass. Okay, I love this tagline. A Star is Born. Cheryl Swoops and the WNBA are both due in June. That's just killer copywriting right there. Applause.
I bet they sold a lot of copies.
So does anyone want to take a guess at what? So $50,000 is what Cheryl Swoops, the quote-unquote Michael Jordan of women's basketball, was making. $50,000. What do you think the minimum salary for a professional women's basketball player
Fucking
is
A.
today?
If you're... Oh, okay.
A
Today.
professional women's basketball minimum salary.
So it
Minimum
started
salary.
at 50,000
if you're
in
a rookie
1999.
coming into the WNBA,
She was the best player
It's probably
in 1996 or whatever
Is it
we're talking about.
30,000?
That's your guess?
That's my guess.
This is entry level today.
Today.
God damn. I'm gonna go Price is Right rules. 32,000.
$1. No, I guess 75,000.
All right. For a player going into the WNBA with 0 to 2 years experience, the minimum salary is $58,710.
Oh my
Well, it's
god.
better than what I gave it.
Yeah.
I gave it really low expectations.
Does
That's
anyone want to guess what the
It's
NBA
not-
is?
It's not a livable wage in most big cities where these teams are playing.
This is a decent teacher salary.
If you were a single person without any family or anything like that, then maybe. But
You have to hope
but then
that
we have
you're
other
not-
things
not
to
in
talk
a high-
about that they have
not
to
in
pay
a-
for.
Yeah, not in a high cost of living.
not in
city.
New York City.
Yeah, you couldn't live off of
Maybe in,
$58,000.
Lincoln, Nebraska or
Yeah.
whatever, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone want to guess? No, everybody guess. NBA rookie salary.
Oh Jesus! It has to be over $1 million, right?
I'm going 4 times, so it was 58, so 6. I'm going 250,000.
You said over $1
I
million?
think it's $1 million. When I think of a NBA basketball player,
I'll say 500,000.
it's $1,017,000 for a rookie.
$1 million.
So, and then I'll just give a little more context. If you're a 3-year pro in the WNBA, your minimum is 70,000.
thank you.
Yeah, if you're a 3-year pro in the NBA, you go to 1.9 million.
Wow.
All right. So, now
Okay.
we've talked about minimums.
Okay.
What do you think the super maximum is for a WNBA player? If the minimum is 58. What do you think the most you can pay a WNBA player, like a Cheryl Swoops?
200,000?
In today's money?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I looked this up
today's-
recently.
This is
so
like Sue Bird. This is
This is
like
2022.
the best player.
the best of the
players.
best. I'm going optimistic. I'm going 350.
Okay. You said
I said 2.
you know because you looked
Yeah,
it
I
up.
looked it up.
All right, it's $221,450
Oh, cool.
a season.
Dude, fuck them.
Does anyone want to guess the highest salary in the NBA per season? The Supermax? Just, you know.
50 million?
Yeah, like what is I have
It's
no
like-
context of that.
Now, like, something
It's
like
48 and a half.
47 Yeah, like $48 million.
$48.5 million.
A year.
Good.
Per year.
And I think, like, Steph Curry made that last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, and the thing, I have things to say about this because, like, as angry as I feel about it and as angry as we are all about it, there's so much more in play than just, like...
I'm not implying there isn't.
Right, like, it's... Our system has made it so that nobody gives a fuck about anything that women do because women are inferior, or
Imperial.
sorry. I mean,
What is
I'm
that word?
thinking
Just do a hard
Imperial.
pause and then repeat.
so I feel like I can't.
Just say
Women
it.
are
Women
inferior.
Just say women.
Just say women are inferior, okay?
Yeah, honey,
say
just say it. Just say
Our
it.
society treats women as inferior.
And you know what? This is a perfect segue. WNBA players go overseas to make more money.
And then fucked up shit happens to them, like what happened to Brittany Griner.
Right? She went over to Russia because in Russia, they will pay you $1 million a season as a WNBA player
On
Just-
the Russian team.
on the Russian team. Yeah.
That
And
is
can't
so much
you
more
play
money.
Both seasons? Can't you play the U.S. season
Yes,
and the
they're
Russian
opposite.
season?
And you
can
Because
play
they're
both.
opposite, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do
Doesn't
that?
it
Yeah.
sound
So why
like a
wouldn't it-
single mom with like 3 jobs?
Oh
It's
my
horrible.
god.
You're just playing year
Hustling.
round. You never get a break.
Yeah.
You never
You're
get a
just
break.
You
always
never get a
fucking
break,
going.
but like in Russia, you make $1 million, and then in the WNBA, you make maybe $200,000
And
if you're one of the best.
That's really surprising to me that Russia pays their female athletes that much money because they're a really
It's weird, right?
they're big into sports. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah.
So is it like they go over there, play for the money, and then they come over here and play kind of for the recognition in the U.S.?
Kind of
And maybe...
They're more famous, probably.
more
Yeah.
like
Worldwide
And
famous.
they're probably like hustling for endorsements because that's where their
Yes.
money's going to come.
Yeah.
So, but are these big companies endorsing female athletes?
There was a former MVP of the WNBA named Jonquel Jones?
Jonquel Jones.
Jonquel Jones. She said that she made her entire salary in 1 month in Russia. Her entire WNBA salary in 1 month when she was
And she
playing in
won the
Russia.
MVP last year.
That...
But
you
it's like
guys,
it can't
this
be
is
a
making
fun
me
place to be.
sad.
Like
I don't know.
Speak the language. You don't like, you know, it's not home. It's like you're in a strange land and you're just like, why would you not take somebody up on them giving you $1 million to play basketball when you love playing basketball anyways? And like,
And you're so good at it.
yeah.
It happens all the time, like with men basketball players. Like they go to Europe or to Russia or to China, and there are tons of spots open.
There's a
Like-
lot of male, like, collegiate athletes now that are not staying in college as long, or they're not even going to college. They're just going overseas and playing.
Mhm.
And, like, making a name for themselves overseas and
Yeah.
making money.
And you can make some money.
Yeah.
And it's probably more competitive to stay in
Yeah.
the U.S. with the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, but yeah.
There was a whole thing in 2015. Have you ever heard the name Diana Taurasi? You
Yes.
have.
No.
Yes.
So Diana Taurasi is like one of, if not the best point guards in the WNBA, probably of all time. And in 2015, a Russian team gave her $1.5 million not to play in the WNBA. To, like, sit out the season. She's, like, one... If not...
She's like the best
player in the WNBA at the time.
Is it because
Pretty much.
they didn't want her to, like, overextend herself?
Injured. Yeah. Like, we want you to be your best self over
here.
here. Do not play in the WNBA. We'll give you $1.5 million. And she didn't play. She was like, yeah.
Sweet, I get a season off, and I'm making more money.
So she just trained and didn't play on a
Yeah.
team? Like,
She opted out of playing for the WNBA for that year because she got $1.5 million.
I don't blame her.
If you get paid to
I
not
just
do
hope their
something,
quality of life is okay in Russia. I don't know.
I don't know if that,
me to not
but
do
I don't know if
something.
that means that she had to live in Russia. I
But
think
they,
it just means
they
that,
give them so much. They give them, like, private jets.
yeah.
They give them, like, drivers to and from the games.
Oh, so like a normal celebrity.
Luxury
Yeah.
Like
How
a
are
normal...
the male athletes there? Is it the same thing with the male athletes in Russia? Like, or are they on
I
the
think
same
we're
level,
talking,
or
like, top level WNBA versus, like, regular men's leagues. I don't think they're the same. I think we're talking, like,
the
they
star
treat the
athletes?
star women athletes in foreign leagues, and it's not just Russia. There's, like, Turkish leagues and Greek leagues that also pay a lot of money to women.
Okay.
It's not just Russia. Russia's one of the bigger paying ones because a lot of oligarchs, like, own women's teams. Like,
And they probably make a lot of money off of marketing, like the NBA here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I like, in my mind, I like to imagine it like an RSL or like a soccer league. It's like big, but it's not like the biggest.
Yeah.
But it's like big. Like,
So why do you think America is so far behind on this?
well, I think the common, like, the thing you hear the most is that the NBA has just been around longer. So it just has, like, a history of time and marketing and, like, becoming part of the culture, where the WNBA is relatively new in terms of, like, people tuning in and making it a part of the culture, right?
And so much smaller. I was surprised at how you were telling me how few teams there are in the WNBA
it started
comparative.
with 8. It started with 8, and there's 12 now, and there's 30 NBA teams. There's 12 WNBA teams. And when the WNBA started, the teams were all owned by the NBA. There were no independent owners. They were owned by the NBA.
Right. It was like subsidiaries of
Yeah.
an NBA team.
And Utah had a WNBA team called the Stars as a
Stars.
double Z.
Double Z.
Yeah.
And fun fact, hold on, since we're Utahns, back to triple doubles. The one and only triple double with blocks, not assists, blocks,
Whoa.
blocks, points, and rebounds.
Wow.
Was a Utah Stars player named Margot Didek.
Get it,
Shout out,
Margo.
Margo.
I love the name Margot. Margot just sounds like a badass. I know nothing else about her, but
Me
get
either.
it.
Me either. But she did it with blocks. And
That's
it's
nuts.
the one and only time that somebody in the WNBA has done it with blocks.
Did you were you guys aware? Was it on your radar when they were a team in Utah? Did you ever see
Yeah,
that?
when I was
at
young.
first, like, I knew about it, and
Utah
I don't
just
know.
couldn't sustain.
well, the games weren't on TV, and so I never watched them, and
And
I
feel
never
like
went
that's
to
a huge
them,
part
and,
of it.
Well, the
like,
Jazz
they
were
don't
on
get-
K-Jazz.
yeah, the Jazz were
They
on
were
TV,
on, like, cable, like, basic
Yeah.
cable.
just
Right.
network TV, like,
On the
over the
antenna.
air antenna. Yeah.
You didn't have to pay. It was, you could just...
Right.
Well, and how do you expect there to be a fan base buildup if You
Exactly.
can't-
If nobody watches your
There's no
games, right?
accessibility.
Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
You can't go to every game in person.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's do another guessing game. So the WNBA has a pass that you can buy so you can watch as many WNBA games as you want. The NBA has the same thing. How much do you think it costs for the whole season for a WNBA league pass to watch any team you want all season long?
$959.
Lisa, what's your guess?
Okay, a season is how many months?
It's something
7
like
or
60
7.
games. Like,
Yeah.
don't.
60 games.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like $50 a month.
Okay.
So
This was a bad question.
I
I
don't know
have
how
no
many seasons.
ideas.
I know.
I
I'm not
think
doing
it's-
well.
If I'm offensively off, please
No,
just
I think it's
omit
like
me.
$18.99 for the whole season for every single game.
So think about your streaming services
Yeah,
like
I think
Netflix
it's like-
and stuff like
It's
that.
like one
The
month
whole
of
season.
Showtime or
Yes,
like one month
I
of
think it's the
HBO.
whole season. It's
How
less
much?
than $20. $18.99.
$18.99. $24.99.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait.
Damn.
How much is the NBA?
So not $900.
No, the NBA
How
League
much-
Pass is at least $200.
No, it's not. It's $99.
Oh, I think I was thinking of something else. I was not.
And
Do you
no,
want to take your guess back?
No, it's fine. I just
We can
was
just cut this
confused.
whole part out.
Yeah, I just.
I'm just throwing shit out there to talk about.
Okay,
No,
I
but
was
this is
confused.
interesting.
no,
I
that
was
is
on the wrong page.
significantly less than the NBA.
Significant.
Significantly.
It's $9.99.
No, and with the
$24.99
NBA,
and $99.99.
with the NBA games, you can only pick like 5 teams to watch.
Oh.
So you don't get all games. You
Okay.
get 5 teams,
yeah, and there's
And
less.
it's
I guess there's less
$100.
teams, though, right?
and then
Maybe-
they
or
black
WNBA.
out some games where they're like, you can't watch it on this channel because
So what do you have to
you
pay
should
to
have
get
this
all
channel.
access to all the games?
You can't?
It's just not.
It's
even an
impossible?
option. Yeah.
Or
Because
could you
there
buy
are
like
TV
5?
local TV contracts?
You can't have
So
like
you can't
5
do it
league
online.
passes.
You have to have cable.
You probably could,
You could pay like
but you would have to have multiple VPN set up.
I don't know what those words
Yeah,
mean
you.
together,
It's not anything that we're gonna do at all.
That's yours.
All right, let's move on to another quiz.
Yeah. Great.
I like the quizzes.
What's
You
the
do?
quiz?
Yeah, I do.
Good. I have another one. So, let me say one more thing about money. So, in the NBA, all the flights that the teams make are like chartered private flights.
Each team like has their own
WNBA
jet.
Whole ass jet.
The WNBA flies commercial. You could sit next to a WNBA player on your next flight to wherever.
And they're so tall. They
And
need
they're
extra
tall,
room on their
And
legs.
you know what? They have to pay to upgrade for more leg room out of their own
No.
pocket, their own
Out of their-
$50,000 pocket. They have to pay to upgrade
They're
to be comfortable.
okay. Back up. Who's footing the bill on that for the NBA? Is that like the team?
Teams?
The team.
And so the teams in the WNBA
They
don't
just
have the
don't make
budget.
enough money.
They
They
just
say it
don't
will
care.
cost them $20 million a year to charter all of the WNBA flights, and there's not enough money to do that.
Well-
Even though the Utah Jazz were valued at $1.6 billion, that's the value of the Utah Jazz. They're saying they can't afford $20 million to charter flights for WNBA players.
For all 12 teams.
I feel like one NBA player could like
Just pay for
Just
the
pay
entire
for it?
WNBA to charter
Well,
their flights.
Maybe the NBA union should fucking think about
To
it.
me, that's what's,
Right?
To me, that's
Yeah,
the only way
that
it's gonna happen.
seems-
And that is the common theme. If men
The
start
workers-
to take on
the men need to
problem
say-
as well, they
Yeah,
have to be part
that
of
this
the
is
solution.
bullshit.
The
They
men
have
need
be
to
part of the
say,
solution.
like, those gals should get their own plane because we get our own plane. Like, what's the fucking difference?
Yeah.
Well, and really, is
Yeah.
it I feel like it's not that big of a sacrifice for the league to do something like that for...
Well, it's also not a sacrifice for the owners of these teams who are probably billionaires to just charter some jets.
Amen.
I don't know.
But in all reality, I don't think all 12 teams are profitable.
And that's the NBA's problem.
Well, it's not anymore. Like,
They're the
there
wrong
are
thing.
private owners of WNBA teams now, so they're not owned
they're
by the
separate.
NBA
Okay.
anymore.
Well,
But
they get a huge tax write-off then. I don't
there's
know.
still the union, like the
Yeah.
WNBA union,
Yep.
and why can't we get there? Anyway,
And the NBA union should be supporting the WNBA union.
I'm totally with you.
And be like,
Solidarity.
yeah.
I feel
Yep.
sad for these players because I feel like they've been working their asses off for their whole lives to be like a professional athlete. And I'm sure they feel so disappointed. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's my disappointment.
When you're like 22, I'm sure you don't feel as disappointed as maybe when you're 32.
Right. But when I'm like hearing these numbers and their reality, like, you're a professional basketball player. You
The best in the world.
are probably flying Southwest.
The best in the
And
world.
you
Like-
should not have to be
God,
struggling
that's
to like get a side hustle so that you can afford to like take your family on vacation when you're not on season, you know? Like that's
Or
insane.
even just like the fact that you have to be away from your family for half of a year so you can
the whole year if you go to Russia.
right, if you're
Yeah.
going to another country to play, then you're
Yeah.
away from your family possibly for
Well,
man,
it's
that's
just,
a lot of
it's crazy to think about. Like, the only reference I have is like high school sports, and the like girls basketball team, they had to do just as much prep as like the boys basketball team. They have to travel and practice and blah 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 blah. So let's say you're like good enough to get a scholarship to go to college as a women's basketball player. What's your future? You know, like, you make $40,000 a year.
right,
it's
what's
2022,
motivating you to
like-
even do that?
Yeah.
Right, like, what's-
honestly at this point.
It's a
I don't know.
self-perpetuating thing, right?
yeah.
Like-
sort of, right?
And it's like they're not, maybe they don't feel like they have a career or an opportunity because
Well, and who's to say that you're gonna make it? Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Can
you
I-
could be a great basketball player and not make it in the
and there's not that
WNBA.
many teams, there's
Yeah.
a lot less
Yes, there's less
possibility.
There's
spots,
144 roster spots in the WNBA.
and so what happens? If
70 of those go overseas to play
So-
in the off season.
so what happens if
Wow.
you dedicate your whole life from high school all through college and you don't make it to the WNBA? Like, you just don't cut it. You go overseas. You have to like move your whole
Apparently
ass
not so
life.
bad.
Yeah, like, maybe
But
that's not so
it-
bad.
But maybe that's not
it's
the
a
life
culture
you want.
shock.
Maybe you want to not have to leave the country to make a living at what you love.
Yeah, like, you're just, it's the standard of living if you got a scholarship as a male basketball player to college and you made it to the NBA, maybe.
Well, you're guaranteed $1 million if you get drafted.
Yeah, lots of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I give one little tangent here? So my niece, I went to her soccer game yesterday. She plays for a local high school, and she's a senior, and it was her big senior game. That's why I went. And she was one of 8 seniors on the varsity team, and they did like a whole little ceremony where they said like, oh, what their favorite memory was this year or for high school soccer, and then like what they were gonna do after. My niece was the only one who was planning on playing soccer in college. The only one.
Yeah.
And the rest were like,
I'm going to find a way to live from now on.
no, like, seriously, like, the majority of them are like, so-and-so's excited to get married. Like,
Oh,
literally, that's what
no,
they were
really?
saying. Yeah. And then,
Like, settle down and find a husband. And have
yeah,
a
I'm
bunch of
like,
kids.
you
Find
guys are
somebody else
seniors.
to make
and-
money.
Right.
Sucks.
And it's, I felt really proud of my
You can't
niece
make
because
enough money.
she has a scholarship
Yeah.
in Florida where she's playing D1 soccer, and
Yeah.
that's like a really big deal, and that's her dream. But it's just like, this conversation is like making me like
Yeah.
stressed, but also proud, because I'm sure so many women just don't even go after that because the
Well,
limited.
Can we segue
Yes,
into
segue.
my
Yep.
next thing? Well, I just thought the story that you told about your niece, where a lot of her teammates were just like, I'm not gonna play soccer anymore because there's really not a future there for me, and like I don't really see how that's advantageous.
Like, how else?
And I think that goes to like representation, which is like everything, right? Like, as queers, we understand like representation matters, and that's why there are these landmark things in queer history that we can reference and say that made a huge difference and that made a huge difference. We can start a Stonewall. We can talk about, and then you can go to like pop references like Ellen DeGeneres, right? And that whole thing. Like, so you need
And
representation. I think you need representation. And so if you were to guess of the 26 seasons of the WNBA, how many head coaches? There's been less than 100. I'll just tell you that.
Okay.
So let's just pretend there's 100. How many of those do you think were women all time since 97? If there's 100.
There's been
I'm just rounding it.
100 or less.
I feel like it would be high because it's a women's league.
Pick a number. Pick a
Yeah.
number.
So what do you think it would be?
75.
Of 100 would be women?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel less optimistic about it, and I feel like it's probably like 20.
Yeah, I would say probably like 15.
All right, so it wasn't 100, but I just gave that to you guys so you could make an educated guess. There's been 86 coaches as of 2021. 44 of them have been women.
Okay,
So it's about
somewhere
50%.
between you
Okay,
guys.
that's not as
In
It's not as
20
bleak as I thought.
yeah.
in 2022, 7 of the 12 teams had women coaches. But the year before that, 7 of 12 were men.
All right, well,
And this year in the finals, Becky Hammon is coaching the Las Vegas Aces, and the coach of the Connecticut Sun is Kurt, and I'm sorry, I wrote it down, Kurt Miller. And he's openly gay.
Oh, that's cool.
interesting.
It
I
just so
didn't know he was
happens.
gay. Okay,
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta follow up. How many female NBA coaches do you think there have been?
Negative 12.
Wait.
Female NBA coaches.
NBA
Head
coaches.
Head coaches.
None.
None.
None is the right answer.
Yeah.
And it's been around longer, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
No female head coaches, but there have been some assistants. The first female assistant was Lisa Boyer in 2001,
Lisa.
which I
I didn't know about that.
didn't really know. She lasted one season
What
with the
team was
Cavaliers.
that for?
The Cavaliers.
They're like,
lasted
this
one
woman, this
season.
isn't going to work
This
out.
fucking woman.
She's on her period too much.
Oh my god.
Lisa.
What? Dude, that's some bullshit
You know
guys
that's what
would
it
say. Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's
That was
busting
the
my
most-
balls. She must be on her period.
Lisa just
She's
turned into
being
a
a-
gangster. Have you seen this?
She's being a bitch. She made me run extra laps. She's probably on her period.
I don't think I've ever seen Lisa with that body language before. It
What
was
did
like
I
a
do?
real mob situation. I felt like I was like,
Hey, I'm on a
You're
softball team.
I feel like I was gonna get like cinder blocked into a river.
Wow.
God.
Just so everybody knows, Lisa used to be a derby player.
That
and
must be what I'm
Yeah,
picking up.
yeah.
That's
I can
probably
kick
what
some
you were
ass.
Quite
picking up.
intense. Quite
I can
intense.
just turn it off and turn it on. This
I'm
is
glad
good.
that you can turn it off. How
Yeah.
about that?
I have 4 dogs. I have to be
I
gentle.
know. I get that. Yeah.
2001 was Lisa Boyer, but it took another decade before there was another female coach in the NBA, and that was Becky Hammon, who is coaching the Aces in the WNBA finals this season.
Oh, wow.
I read that she was the first full-time NBA, like female NBA assistant coach, like full-time. I don't know what that means. I don't know if Lisa Boyer was not full-time.
She just
But I just-
volunteered
Yeah,
or
no, well,
was
yeah.
hourly.
But that's just what I read, so I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I don't know.
Okay.
But Becky Hammon was hired by Popovich, which Greg Popovich is a very
Papa bitch?
Papa bitch, dude. Like, isn't that fucking wacky?
Is that someone's real name?
no?
It's
It's
first-
Popovich with a V.
First or last?
Greg
Okay.
Last. Greg Popovich.
Okay.
Papa bitch.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
And then he's like, you know, I'm gonna. I want to add like a lady to my staff as Greg
Yeah.
Papa bitch.
Wow.
I would love to
I'd
add.
love to Papa.
Wow, what direction are we rooting for
We
Greg
will
or are we not?
We are rooting for
We're
Greg.
rooting for
but
Greg.
We're just being way too silly
Okay.
right now.
And you can cut any of this out.
Or I can leave
It's the
it
magic
all in.
of editing. Anyway, Becky Hammon was the first full-time female assistant coach in the NBA. And I don't know if there's if she's different than Lisa, I don't know. But
Okay.
I'm just telling you what
They
I
were
read.
notated differently.
But that was 2014.
Okay.
So that was, and she has been with the Spurs for 8 years.
Okay.
Did you fucking know that? I didn't know.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I know.
I didn't
that
know it was
she's
8
She didn't get
years.
fired after one season.
She's still,
Right.
so she's a head coach in the WNBA and she's an assistant coach in the NBA.
That's pretty badass.
It's pretty
Not
badass.
at the same time.
But
like she was
they're
an
di-
assistant
yeah.
coach, and then last
Oh.
year.
She's
last
doing
off-
both.
No,
Wait,
she's
are there
not
seasons
doing
at the
both.
same
She's
time?
doing both.
She's not
the
doing
seasons
both.
are not at the same
No,
time.
she's
Oh
not
my
doing
god,
both.
she's
There's
not
no
making
way.
enough
She's
money. She
doing-
has to do both.
Both, honey. I am telling you this. This is what I wrote down.
Oh my god.
Yes.
She's not making enough money. She has to have a side hustle.
Oh my god. She's like, okay, I'll make
And
$20 an hour as an NBA head coach.
in
Or
20
WNBA.
2021 season, she became the first woman to coach a NBA regular season game. Never happened before, never been a head coach as a woman to coach a NBA game. She did that last year.
Like the head coach was just
Head
like,
coach,
out
calling
of
the
town.
shots.
He got sick. Or
He got
something.
ejected from the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she had to take
Drama.
over.
Okay, so she's like, the
I got
boys
this.
can't handle. I love this.
Yes. But that's the
Oh.
first time that's ever happened.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
Since 46?
I don't like how long it took, but I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Becky
Becky.
Hammon.
Becky.
Cheers to Becky.
Becky with the good hair.
Oh.
Hammond as in Jurassic Park.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
And as a side note, Christy Tolliver plays in the WNBA, also an assistant coach in the NBA.
Oh, I like
only
that.
person to do that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She's playing in the WNBA and she's coaching in the NBA. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I have a real fun stat. So, the WNBA is basically the queerest pro sports league probably that there is. I mean, I don't know. Is there a pro roller derby?
Not on the same level. But
Pro women's soccer could be
Could be close.
close.
but I
think-
think WNBA might have the lead there.
Let me tell you a fun stat. In the 2021 playoffs, so last year, on the court at the same time, there were 3 couples playing.
No. Oh my god.
They're all like, "Babe, pass me the ball."
Babe, don't look at her. Why are you looking at her? Did you just touch her
Babe,
butt?
did you
Oh my
guard her
God.
so close? Like, why did you get so close to her?
Why didn't you pass that to me fast enough? Oh my god, this is so insane. I'm thinking of so many things.
60% of the players that were on the court were in relationships with each other.
That
at
feels
the
like.
time.
Wait, were they all on the same teams?
No.
That feels
Is this-
typical as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, this
Sounds like my high school.
Okay, but is this like a conflict of interest?
No.
I wouldn't say no.
No.
Why would it be?
I don't know.
You want to win?
Is
that
this
a
not how your
conflict of
softball
interest?
team was, dude?
Well, is this not how my work life is?
It's just
dude?
how you meet. It's just how you meet people. Softball.
No, but like in high school, all the girls on the basketball team at my school were like all intermingled within relationships with each other, and some of them were secretive and some of them weren't, but they were literally all in relationships with each other. Like, so you telling me this, I'm just like, it literally sounds exactly like every single
I don't
girl at my
disagree
high
with you,
school.
but I think it's very fun that it happened in a professional WNBA game.
It's not just high school.
In the playoffs, there were 60% of the women on the floor were in a relationship with each other
How
at
would
the
you
time.
feel if you were one of the ones who weren't?
Right.
You're just
And they
like,
were probably
like,
snighted. They probably were in a relationship with one of those members at one time, and
Oh,
they were
shit,
probably
it was the
bitter
ex.
exes. All
Yeah,
four
you
of
know
them.
they were exes.
I want the whole dating history of everyone on
Or
that
they
team.
were straights and they were like,
Oh.
Do you guys remember Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez and
Yeah.
how they were like Benifer and now
Yeah.
they're like back together?
Yeah.
So there's a couple in the WNBA.
The
I told you
Bennifer.
about Vandersloot
Yes.
and her wife is Quigley. Do you want to know their name?
Yes.
The Vander Quigs.
Oh.
I don't like it. I feel bad for them.
The Vander Quigs. They're Russian.
It's quite the mouthful.
It's not really a shortened version of
It
either.
doesn't
of
roll
their
off the
names.
tongue.
Can I loop this back to the triple double?
Yes.
One of those 60%, one of the couples in that 60% was Alyssa Thomas, the one that just got the triple double in the finals yesterday.
Uh-huh.
She was dating Dewana Bonner.
She's my favorite person, Dewana Bonner. Dewana Bonner is my favorite WNBA player.
The name.
She's good.
Where's
She's good, dude.
Where is she from?
She
don't
plays
know.
for Connecticut.
Just so I'm just gonna kind of hit you with some things that maybe you knew or maybe you didn't. So, I think it was 2020-2021 season, WNBA players dedicated their season to Breonna Taylor.
Right.
And in the midst of that, one of the partial owners of the Atlanta Dream, which is a WNBA team, named Kelly Loeffler,
Right.
who was also a senator in Georgia,
Yes.
criticized the WNBA for dedicating their season to Breonna Taylor. And so what happened was that all these WNBA players started to wear shirts that said "Vote Warnock," which was the opponent of Loeffler, the part owner of the Dream.
Yeah.
Because they're like, stop
Vote this
criticizing
person out.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Breonna Taylor was murdered.
Yep. And
Vote for the opponent.
Loeffler got voted out.
Yeah, fuck.
And
Holy shit.
somebody bought her out, too.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Double whammy.
Yep.
I remember that, yeah.
It's a victory.
Yeah.
The WNBA seems like players take more risks, and maybe it's because they don't have a lot to lose when they're making like $50,000 a year or whatever. And there are 2 active non-binary WNBA players, I think, as of this past season. One of which changed their name. Lashai Clarendo came out as non-binary in 2020, and they actually go by she, her, they, them, and he, him, like,
Any pronoun.
And
yep.
any/all.
And in 2021 had top surgery. I wasn't able to determine whether or not they have played after having top surgery, but I think so. And then another player changed their name to A.D. Durr. Their last name was Durr. I don't remember their original dead name at this point because I don't think they want that. But A.D. Durr, A.D. came out and was like, I don't put titles on myself, but you can call me they, them. And then I think their closer friends call him he, him. A.D. is the second, like, publicly out, in a sense, player that uses pronouns that are not she, her in the WNBA.
That's awesome.
So there's been like 2 so far.
Right.
And it's been within the past 2 years. And that, obviously has not happened in any male sports.
No.
I think we've talked about previously on the podcast that, was it Nasib was his name? Was like the first sort of openly gay NFL player.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
The Raiders.
Yeah.
Right. Carl. I remember it was Carl.
Nasib, yeah.
What a
Carl.
weird name. Just kidding.
And I just think it's really interesting that we're, like, as a culture, suddenly concerned about women's sports being, like, infiltrated by trans, like, agendas, and we have all these, trans athletes are banned from high school sports and bathrooms and whatever else. And we just went through the whole gamut. Like, we went through the whole history of the WNBA. Tell me why anyone has any incentive to transition into a female to play for $50,000. And so many people get mad. Like,
did you guys see the statistic? Or I saw like an article the other day that it's like a legit article that was like, there's more bills banning transgender athletes than there are actual cases or situations that have been brought up within the school system who have like come out with this issue. So it's just like, it's absolutely absurd.
Whatever.
Who
wants to go into the WNBA? Who's like, oh, I'm gonna con my way into the WNBA
to make $50,000
I'm
a
gonna
year.
start out at 70 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And like, that's worth this whole situation. And that legitimately, I think, is what some people think. Like,
I know.
you're going to come in and dominate women's sports and take away all this opportunity that we've talked extensively about just now.
How much
Like,
opportunity
you're going to
everyone's
take
getting.
away all this opportunity from all these
Yeah.
girls. It's like, what opportunity?
Right.
Yeah,
What are you even talking
what's
about?
even being
What's
taken
the
away?
incentive?
And
Who
we're-
wants to go through that shit for $60,000 a year or whatever the fuck?
And
are you
we're
telling?
only excited about the WNBA, like, right now. Like, in 2022. It's not even... It's already so advanced.
Sad.
It's not a thing.
It's
And
sad.
there's, like, one person in Utah who has been impacted by this trans ban. So, in all reality, Utah has made this whole ass fuss about trans girls going into, trans people, like, participating in women's sports, and there's, like, one athlete in the whole ass state.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's right.
I'm just saying,
exactly.
like,
That's
why are
the whole
we
thing.
legislating for one person who may or may not be taking a $1,000 scholarship from maybe a person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
Dude,
it's not even
for
a thing.
real. That's
We don't
and,
know.
Like, my niece,
Can we just go fund it away?
My niece, who is actually going to play at a D1 school, is not even getting enough scholarship money to cover her education.
Yes, it's not
she
even
still
a
has
thing.
to
And
be
D1 is like, that's a word in the sports Bible. D1.
Right.
D1 is like
but she still
top
has
of the
to
top.
be like a straight A student because they said you need to have an academic scholarship to actually cover the majority because we can't pay enough
With the
to pay
with
your
the sports
$60,000 a
scholarship.
year
Yeah.
tuition. Like,
So who, like, it's impacting one person in our state
that we know of.
that we know
but
of.
still,
Let's say maybe it's
relatively
impacting 5
few.
people.
well, and the state has made it such a big fucking deal that even if a trans girl wants to play, she
It's
wants
not
to
gonna
stay
happen
as
now.
far away from that as possible
Right.
because it's so alienated now.
This is the thing they started legislating when there weren't really even any
It's not a
cases to
problem.
legislate about. It's just like
It's a
right.
culture,
It's
a
right
culture war
wing
thing.
fear.
It's a culture
tactic.
war thing.
Yeah.
And you just have to, like, recognize that someone just wants you to feel outraged about something.
And it's not even an issue. It's a
And it's not an
non-issue.
Yeah. It's not even an issue.
It's
There are
not
so like
even affecting
there are so
anyone.
We
few
just
cases of
demonstrated.
it, and when it does happen, it's like it's okay, and it should just
And
be
it's okay.
dealt with in a very
And it's a private thing. Like, it's about the student that got the scholarship. And, like, if somebody feels like challenging that, I'm sure there's a pathway to do that. I don't know.
whoever is at that institution needs to protect their entity's decision to offer that person a scholarship
Yeah.
and just shut it down, because I don't feel like you're entitled to. I don't know, like you can't
Well,
just
and what are you going to do? Like, lift up all the dinosaur skirts?
right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
That's exactly. You can. You can never do that. That's
And-
not okay. You
and-
can never do
and-
that.
But that's what they're advocating for.
I know, and
And
that's
they
never
only-
okay.
They only want to test trans girls' blood. Like, it's never anything other than, like, we want to test the sex hormones of these girls.
No,
Like, depending on
Right, if it was a
Who-
trans dude.
depending on who is accusing them of being trans.
Right, it's like not a threat if it's the other
Just-
way around.
yeah.
Remind me how much you care about your daughters playing professional basketball.
I just
Because you'll pay them $60,000
no, but
a
I
year.
just want to know, like,
It's just, I think that's just like the most, you cannot have it both ways. You can't have
it's
it both ways.
irrelevant though. But
I know it's irrelevant, but you just can't have it both ways. Like, you can't say that it's so important that you're willing to, like, throw yourself on the sword because maybe somebody's taking testosterone, like somebody's getting testosterone injections, and they're playing in your high school girls basketball league or whatever. Like, tell me how much you value that by how much you pay professional women's basketball players. And, like, so now all of a sudden it's, like, a problem. Because that trans person is taking a job from your daughter to make $60,000 in the WNBA. Like, fuck you.
It's a matter of parents that don't want to have a hard conversation with their child saying, you didn't win. Sorry. Maybe there are extenuating circumstances and maybe there's not, but we can just, like, move on from it. And
sometimes there's people better than you and sometimes there's people worse than you.
Yeah.
That's every stage in life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to do with their hormones or their gender.
For a brief moment, I played in a competitive basketball league. It was very brief. There was a girl on our team who was very good. Like, just, like, obviously good. Obviously better than pretty much everybody else from either team. And there was a moment after a game where a mob, and I'm going to call it a mob, it was like a mob of parents that were like, that's not a girl. That's not a girl. Because she was so good. She was so good. And she was on. They couldn't believe it. And it wasn't just that she was so good. It was because she had short hair. She presented more masculine than feminine.
Ew, that's icky.
And they demanded that someone. I remember standing there and hearing in the stands parents saying, "Take her in the bathroom."
Oh my god.
They were like demanding to know that was not a girl or was a girl. And that was because they were just so good. It was unbelievable how good she was. She had to be a man. First of all, that's fucked up in and of itself. And second of all, like, who are you to say that a child needs to be inspected for any... This is inconsequential to anything in your life. To anything in your life. Right. And this is what you're going to traumatize a child with, because you can't accept the fucking fact that your team lost.
Yeah, or that there's another player better than your kid.
Yes.
It's like they take it so personally.
Yes, dude. That happened, and it happened more than once.
That's so bad.
That poor kid. I can't imagine being the parent of that child, because if anyone came at me about my dog, I would just lose my mind. But if it was my human child, I would just be throwing punches.
Like, what do you do? Yeah,
like, what do you do? What do you do? Fuck off! Like, I would just want to, like, lose my mind and be like, are you serious?
No, that's probably, like, a fight or flight moment.
Yeah, no, that's like an adrenaline.
This didn't go over well at the time. I'm telling you, this did not go over well. The whole crowd was, like, one side against the other. Everybody was yelling at each other.
Sucks.
I might be making this up, but I swear to God, people threw things. Threw things. At her, the child.
The child.
Think of the child.
Who's just really good at basketball. And no one can believe it.
Cool, there's something I'm good at that I like doing and I want to do it. And they're like, fuck you.
You should feel bad about that.
You freak. Like, that's so terrible.
It is. I don't want to end on such a bad note, but I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the WNBA.
Yeah.
It has been competitive. It's been fun watching the different personalities. And Lisa, I know we want to do this on a future episode, but we want to talk about fashion, because they do that with the WNBA. As with the NBA, they film, like, players, like, walking into the
there's, like,
arena.
Yes.
So there's, like, a whole catwalk situation. It's very fun. There's a lot of personality, and that is what sells in the NBA. Like, yeah, sure, they can dunk. Okay. They can jump higher, whatever, but there's still...
The fashion is a big part. Like,
there's still
the
a lot
personality is a
of
big
shit
part.
happening that's very fun, and that's why I watch the NBA anyway. It's like half relationships and drama and like half actual basketball. So I just felt like it was entertaining. I felt like it was competitive, and I'm just glad that we're talking about it, and I'm glad that we're trying to shine some kind of light on the fucking insanity.
Yeehaw!
Dear queer. Dear queer.
You're queer!
Dear queer.
Dude, like, maybe we should talk to Dear Queer.
We have a Dear Queer question, which is our new season 4 thing that we're doing. We want to give some type of advice, just help somebody, hopefully.
Somebody, help me.
God,
No, we're
hopefully.
probably terrible at giving
We're bad.
advice, so
Like,
don't
So
take
this
our
is
advice
not
too seriously.
professional.
No. This one I found, and I thought it was really fucking interesting.
That was a hard F.
Yeah. All right, here's the question.
Alright, hit me.
Okay, Dear Queer, my husband and I have been married for 12 years. We are both in our late 30s. Early in the pandemic, Jack, which is a fake name, so Jack, came out to me as bisexual. He told me he did a lot of soul searching during quarantine, and he said he needed to be honest about who he was. I am all capital, fully supportive of Jack. This is not a problem for us as a couple. Bravo to you.
Yes.
Jack started posting a lot of pride/equality content on his Instagram, which is also not a problem for anyone in our network of family and friends. Bravo to family and friends. It continues. Last weekend, we went to a family barbecue at his parents' house, and I overheard him talking to his sister about politics. Jack said something to the effect of, sooner or later they'll come for the civil rights of queer couples like me and Anna. Anna is the person that sent this in. Anna continues on and says, I've never thought of our relationship in this way. Am I queer? Are we a queer couple? ? We are both white, cisgender people who came from lower middle class families. Something makes me question his logic, but I don't know if I'm being judgmental. Please help me with some advice.
Okay, so to summarize,
there.
Jack and Anna are a couple who's been married for 12 years, and Jack has recently come out as bisexual, and they're fine.
And they're
Anna's
fine.
chill with it. However, now she's kind of being referred to as queer and being in a queer relationship when she never saw herself that way.
Yeah, so I think the issue is she overheard him saying basically that they were in a queer relationship. They're a queer couple. And she doesn't know how to feel about that.
It sounds like Jack is identifying with the queer community in a political sense.
Yeah.
And
in a personal
right.
sense.
But in that instance, it sounded like it was a political conversation, right?
I think these are the two questions we should think about. Is Anna a queer person by being a queer in a relationship with a queer person?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Agreed.
And are they in a queer relationship because one of them is queer?
No.
You only you get to determine your sexuality, your gender identity, all of those things. The way your partner identifies
Can be different.
can be
Yeah.
different.
And that doesn't
And
change
that doesn't
your own,
change-
if you're queer or straight or... Yeah.
I've thought about this like, since I saw this question, and I have changed my mind a couple of times. Are they a queer couple? Like, is this a queer relationship where one person is bisexual and one person is not?
Where it's like, if 0 times anything, it's 0. So
Well,
if queer times anything, it's queer.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. Just because one person in the relationship identifies with a queer identity, that does not make the relationship queer. Anna feels good about herself and where she's at, and straight, I'm assuming.
They seem to be in a heterosexual relationship.
So I don't feel like this impacts her. I don't feel like this makes her queer in any way.
No, but if your significant other / spouse, they're married, right? Spouse.
Yes.
Yeah, been married for 12 years.
If your spouse is referring to your relationship in a way that is queer to other people, without your consent, or maybe with your consent, or maybe implied consent, like, what do you do? What do you do in that case? Like, well, if for some reason that's what the question was. Like, they overheard something at an event. So one half of the couple is identifying as a queer couple, and the other half is sort of not identifying, but also just maybe surprised by that revelation.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah, probably caught her off guard.
Yes. Where it's like, oh.
I didn't know you felt this way.
And that's why I said, like, 0 times anything is 0.
Yeah.
Is that, like, queer person times spouse equals queer?
I think it isn't quite that cut and dry. She needs to respect his identity and his queerness. However, she doesn't have to take that on. But there needs to be some communication.
Yeah.
Because there might be some discomfort from overhearing that and not identifying that, and maybe a conversation to show respect and boundaries on both sides would help.
Anna's straight, then she can still be straight just because she has a bisexual partner, unless they're like inviting someone else into the relationship. Then
yeah, that's a good point, though.
That's not a part of the question.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, I don't see why that takes away. Yeah. That's my point. That's all I'm trying to say is I don't see why it takes away
and
Anna's
maybe
straightness, unless
she might feel a little threatened because of the lack of
But
communication.
is it I don't know if it's threatening as much as it is, like, I have never been in that space.
And what I mean
and
by...
why am I now in that space by proxy?
I think what I meant by threatened is you're now being given a label that you never put upon yourself.
Right.
And so it's like you have the outside world looking at you in a different way that you didn't give that world permission to look at you like that.
Okay.
So it's like you have family and friends now being like, oh, you're a queer couple and you don't identify as that.
Maybe? Like,
yeah, and maybe that feels threatening to have.
I don't know
that.
if it feels threatening as much as it just feels like like I'm a stranger in a strange land. Like,
doesn't feel quite right.
Why am I taking this space as queer when in my whole life I've identified this way, but now my partner identifies in a different way? That I don't feel like I need any space in a queer sense of the word, because I've never
Right, you don't just take, just because your partner has that identity, you don't just like take on your partner's identity. That's what I'm saying. Like, just because your partner is queer, it doesn't make you queer.
And I think it's
At
okay
all. It
that she
doesn't.
feels defensive about that. Like, we know who we are and we have some sort of pride in our identities. And if someone's coming at you from something that you didn't put out there, that would be like at least a double take.
Yeah, I read this as a double take. What if this was opposite and it was from Jack's perspective, saying, I came out to my wife.
I guess this has been a very sexist episode.
Yeah, I wanna like flip flop here. And what if it was from Jack and he said, I came out to my wife as bisexual.
I like you flipping the script.
Are we being compassionate and respectful for everyone involved?
And would we respond the same way to
Yeah.
Jack if he said, is it okay that I was talking about Anna in this way?
Could you tell Jack, no, you're not in a queer marriage. Like,
Yeah.
you
Hey, respect
just
your
not.
wife's identity.
Well, but if Jack wants to see their marriage as a queer marriage because he's queer and his wife is okay with that, like seeing it because like he's a that, then to me that changes things. Because if Jack communicates and says, hey, like, I very much see it as a core part of my identity that I'm queer, and like I see our relationship as a very queer pairing, like, and they talk about it and they both agree, but like, you are not queer by proxy.
And it's okay to not know how to feel about something, but I think that is where the question lies, is like, I don't know how to interpret this. I don't necessarily agree, but I don't necessarily disagree. How do I navigate this situation? Like, that's the Dear Queer. How do I navigate someone saying I'm in a queer relationship when I don't identify as queer?
Right. And
That's it.
And I don't feel like it's fair for someone else to like put you in a queer like, I feel like if you're not queer and you've never been queer and there's nothing queer about your history or past,
Or wants, or hidden,
and
whatever.
Just because you're dating someone who has a queer part of their identity, that does not make you queer. Like, it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
So, but though, there's like two halves to that whole, and like one half is saying, I am under a queer umbrella, therefore our relationship is threatened by whatever administration.
I think I called it a Punnett square.
Yeah,
Of
like we have a relationship that is not looked favorably upon.
how, by who though? Like, who's
The
asking?
government.
No, but in this scenario, like, a cis white male and a cis white female are
Right,
married.
on paper, it's fine.
Who is against that?
Yeah, on paper,
I mean,
it's fine.
I wasn't gonna
Nobody,
bring that
right?
up.
Nobody's against that.
Right.
So yeah, the threatening part.
Maybe it's just in your interpersonal relationships.
But
It's all
okay, but we should be compassionate to Jack in that he is taking that identity on him and he's feeling proud to be a queer person and is seeing himself and seeing himself as like, yeah, this movement is happening, we're seeing it, and I want to be a part of that. I feel like I'm part of that. And so I don't want to take that away from him, but in the same respect, there's two people in this relationship, and that's where...
And they can both feel however they're gonna feel.
Yeah.
I mean, well, if we get down to it, like, marriage is a contract anyway, right?
They're both
Yeah.
entitled to their feelings as far as, like, I am queer or bi or whatever, and I am...
But I think you have to be a little careful if you're speaking for someone else.
I'm
and
not
maybe that's where
well,
the
yeah.
miscommunication
I'm
is.
not trying to speak for somebody
No,
else.
no,
though.
you're not. No, you're not. I'm saying in
this
this
scenario.
scenario, you got to be
Yeah.
careful when you're
He
describing.
was speaking for her
Yes, a little bit
and
Yeah.
maybe overstepped a little bit.
different.
I think there's a bigger
Who it
question. Yeah, am I like taking up space or appropriating in an inappropriate way? That sounded weird when I said it out loud. But also, like, do you feel like you belong in this space? Do you feel like this is part of who you are? And if you don't, then you don't have to be in that space.
Yeah.
And then that resolves the whole issue. Like, then you don't feel this guilt of taking up space
I know, but if someone else is speaking
is
for
pushing you into that space.
speaking for you, there are fucking levels, man.
There are
Yeah.
levels, and it's not black and white.
It's just gotta be, it boils down to
But if
communication.
somebody's speaking
right?
for me, though, like, I have, like,
Yeah.
a tiny... If it was me, I would have a tiny bit of an exception to say, like, 1 second. Like, have we even talked about this?
Yeah.
Have we even, like, had this conversation before you're having a conversation with whoever about what we are and...
Here's our final thought on our Dear Queer is
Communication.
you just have to communicate to your spouse. Anna, I'm going to say, talk to Jack and say that you overheard him talking to his sister and you need to have a discussion about your relationship and how he views your relationship and how you view your relationship.
There's a middle ground.
Um
Everything's
and
fine.
and two things can be right at the same time.
Yep.
Two things can be true. Like, it doesn't have to be right or wrong. And you're entitled to feel however you're gonna feel. I don't know that there's a right answer to this. I don't think there's like a 1 + 1 = 2
Nope.
answer.
You're
So
not
we already
queer
tried that.
unless you yourself identify as queer. No one else can
Nope.
just push you into
There's
being
no
queer.
by proxy.
If you want to submit a question for Dear Queer,
Let's have the only person
I'll tell you
here
what
without
to do.
social media
No,
to tell you what
listen.
to do.
No, I know what to do. Send us an email to... I'm looking up the email address. toastedlavenderpodcast@gmail.com.
What's going on here?
I'll read that email. I know what an email is.
I don't know where
And her
she's
name
from.
is Dewana Bonner.
That is the gayest name I've heard in a long time.
I don't think it's that gay.
Do you want a bomber?
Want a Bonner?
Alright.
That's
All right.
it.
We're all gonna have to bleep out this
Cut that
whole
out.
fucking conversation.
Yeah,
and
cut that
that's
out.
fine.
Okay. Is there anything else that we want to discuss? from
Dewana?
your notes?
Dewan. That was
You want a
good.
bomber?